Wealth isn't always measured in numbers. Sometimes it's what lingers after you've left the room. Welcome to the Kaleidoscope Scent, the scent index, where luxury meets discipline and aroma builds legacy. This is your Fall 2025 Index, the autumn portfolio, building wealth and warmth. I'm your host, Eric. Welcome to today's adventure. First up, we have Creed Oud and the perfumer, although undisclosed, is rumored to be Cecile Zeropian. Now, Creed keeps his noses quiet, but Oud speaks loudly in character. It's smooth oud, dry wood, and old money confidence. It's the trust fund of fragrance portfolios, quiet power that never asks for attention. So while there's not a lot of oud in this fragrance, and I've seen a lot of hate online for this fragrance, to me, this is Creed's best fragrance release since Royal Oud, in my humble opinion. And I'm a big Cecile Zeropian fan, and she hit the ball out of the park, rumoredly, with Oud. So in no particular order, next up we have Amouage's Silver Oud, again from Cecile Zeropian. Now, Silver Oud is discipline and fire in perfect ratio. It's smoke, cypriol, amber, and aged vanilla folded into refinement. It's how control smells when it finally allows itself in luxury. And when the air lightens, slides seamlessly into King Blue, again from Amouage. It's from the same craftsmanship, it's just a little bit cleaner, fresher architecture. It's like moving from portfolio preservation to short-term liquidity. I remember when I first got this fragrance, I think I got it in a Amouage sample set. They have one of the most beautiful sample sets that's out there. And I'm a big oud lover. If it has oud, I'm the oud connoisseur. All my friends can tell you this. This is not really that funky. I remember amongst that fragrance sample set from Amouage going back to two particular fragrances. And I found myself saying, hey, where can I wear this? So I found myself going back to Silver Oud the most from that sample set. And I've had this now going on probably, I think maybe 2.5 years. And this is a pure stunner. This, coupled with Oud Alya from their Attar line, is phenomenal. A little of this goes a long way, but this is probably one of the most wearable ouds that are out there. Not a lot of barnyard kick to it. Smoke, the dry down is phenomenal. This is definitely a fall and winter fragrance though. You're very daring if you pull this off in summer. Again, from my favorite house, Amouage, Silver Oud. And also from our base assets, we have Zafar by Oman Luxury. Rose and incense in perfect symmetry. Zafar is devotion of wealth, the scent of patience and pure precision. My first kind of welcoming to this house Oman Luxury was Royal Incense. And then I went down a rabbit hole. It's almost like you find a drummer on for drum breaks on a rare hip hop record. You have to find every record that drummer played on. I kind of went down that rabbit hole with Oman Luxury. Now Zafar, my wife and I go to Disney a lot. And I remember wearing this we went down to Disney for Thanksgiving last year. And this was the scent I wore the whole trip. It was a little bit cooler, but man, this is, at the time, I had nothing in my scent collection that smelled like this. This is an amazing, one-of-a-kind scent. However, I will tell you, while researching for this video, I also have Zafar from Jerof, and I have Alcat from Jerof. And I'm kind of confused. I'm not in my home right now, I'm in my office, but I'm kind of confused which one. There is one of those two smell very similar to this, but I think they're kind of at the similar price point, $210, but this has been one of the houses that has not failed me yet. So the next segment of today's index is our mid-performers. Next up, we have Electimus Octavian, perfumed by the infamous Christian Provenzano. From Christian Provenzano, Octavian commands respect without noise. It's amber, incense, and dry smoke, with Roman authority. Another house that hasn't failed me just yet, but it kind of gets a bad rap for being what we would say is a dupe house. Some of the fragrances smell like it's a more cost-efficient version of a lot of Boadicea the Victorious fragrances. Now, Octavian blew my mind, and I'll tell you why. It's one of the best oud rose scents I've ever smelled in my life. However, that was until I purchased the bottle of The Night by Frederic Malle. I will say though, it's not a one-to-one, but if you want to save your wallet a little bit, Octavian is the way to go. I'm actually wearing it today, and it's a beautiful scent. Again, oud connoisseur, this one's right up there. But if I had to choose between the Night and Octavian, I would go the Night. You could tell just a subtle difference, but this one is going to be a lot easier on your finances. I really love this house. The bottles are like, I feel like I could do a good 5-10 pound dumbbell curl with this thing. But great house, Electimus Octavia. Ex Nihilo Outcast Blue Extrait, perfumed by Jordi Fernandez. Outcast Blue Extrait is controlled volatility. It's pepper, metallic mucks, and ambrox that feel like momentum captured in pure amber. So sadly, my entrance into Ex Nihilo was Blue Talisman, which I always stray away from the hype beast. I finally purchased a bottle of that. I resold it within a week. I did purchase Flora Narcotique shortly thereafter, the Extrait, which was also a Quinton Biche. It was perfumed by Quinton Biche, but I've really started to grow to love this house. There's some oud in here. There's also a bit of musk. For some odd reason though, I get slight elements of Tom Ford's White Suede. But this has kind of led into my foray with Ex Nihilo. I mean, I've really started to track down Brompton and Morals, a few other scents, but this really opened my nose to this house. The Merchant of Venice, Veniga 21. Patchouli, vetiver, and amber wood, the niching retirement for the modern collector. I'll be honest, this house is actually a miss for me. I picked up their Arabesque fragrance recently. Beautiful presentation, but again, a complete miss. Veniga 21 though, this is a sleeper gem. It's as if Born to Stand Out's Drunk Lovers Initio Side Effect and Algalbra's Eye of Seven Hills had a baby. It's boozy, spiced, seductive, yet refined enough for a three-piece suit. Again though, I'm just not really impressed with this house. Beautiful bottles, but of the 4 fragrances I've purchased thus far, they've actually been a miss for me. Balmain Carbone. From the famous perfumer Quinton Biche, Carbone is precision with swagger, mineral leather, and spice cut sharp as a well-timed decision. So I was put on to, this is actually my, I have some clothing items from Balmain, however you want to pronounce it, but this is the first fragrance I've ever from that line. I was put on to this from Chris at the Dry Down. You guys should check him out as well. One of my favorite reviewers, really ramping up his channel. Very descriptive, awesome personality, but we kind of have the same taste. So this is a beastly fragrance. Do not wear this to the gym. I have an 18, 19-year-old daughter. They've both been like, ugh. I've even wore this upstairs and my wife is like, what do you have on? And I don't even know if it was in a good way. But this stuff, this is me in a bottle. This is masculine, it's elegant. There's nothing, I have 600 of these fragrances and I don't have anything that smells like this at all. 1 to 2 sprays though, you push above 3, man, you could be nauseous to the scent very quickly. I made the mistake of wearing this to the gym last December. I got a lot of looks, but this is a beautiful, beautiful one-of-a-kind scent. Again, Quinton Biche kind of has the same DNA. This is not something like Guidance. This is not something like Fleur La Cartite. This is not something like Purpose 50. This is in a league of its own. I highly advise to check out Balmain's private line. There's nothing that even compares to this in that line. Roja Parfums, PLDN number 3. Parfum La de Nuit number 3 by Roja Dove is pure authority. Spice woods and amber that project influence without even saying a word. I'm the biggest Roja hater. Let me tell you, I thought his fragrances were overhyped, overpriced for years. For the last 6 months, this has been my favorite fragrance of all time. This is a special occasion fragrance for me. I have number 1, number 2 as well. I have Diaghilev. I have all the big hitters in the Roja line. But this, now if you take Sweetie Oud from Roja and it made Sweet Sensual Love to Jubilation 40 or even Jubilation from Amouage, these two are number 1 and 2 for me all the time. This is an opulent, sensual, man, if I'm wearing a Tom Ford or Dolce & Gabbana silk shirt, some Tom Ford trousers, and some Celine or YSL Chelsea boots, this is what I'm popping on. This is what I'm popping on. But it's not something that you want to wear every day. This is like a birthday, anniversary, your wife's birthday, maybe a first time meeting some friends. You want to be a showstopper? This is the way to go. You're going to pay a hefty price for this fragrance though. Most of Roja's fragrances are up there in the price range. I recently purchased Oud Extraordinaire for retail, which was a bad decision on my part. But if you want something that's elegant, it's as if Jubilation by Amouage and Sweet Oud by Roja made sweet, sweet love. And this is their baby right here. It's also my baby. Stefano Humbert Lucas. Black Gemstone. Composed by Stefano humbert, Black Gemstone is molten resin and dark amber, the smell of earned confidence. I was first put onto this fragrance by Demi Rawling, who is actually one of my favorite female fragrance reviewers, and she reminds me so much of my oldest daughter, Lyndon, who's at the University of Kentucky. They could pass for sisters. Now, this fragrance, Black Gemstone, oh my God, it is phenomenal. Again, nothing in my, I tried to go outside the box on this list as well. You see the same stuff a lot of the times, and I'm one that kind of strays away from that. You're gonna see your Purpose 50s. You're gonna see your, maybe a few Rojas in there, maybe Jerof, Alexandria 2, maybe Grand Soir. I tried to sway away from that. When I do implement those fragrances, I like to layer them though. I don't like to just keep them, sometimes I do trios of layers, which is, if you have a big fragrance collection, that opens up a whole nother world. And we'll get into that in future videos. But this is masculinity. With this, man, some black Tom Ford jeans, some of his new Python boots with this, maybe a black slim V-neck or rib V-neck from Tom Ford, Dolce & Gabbana, Celine. And this is a black, I hear this black leather jacket fragrance all the time, but this truly is, man. People say ombre leather. Yeah, that's fine. But this is pure testosterone in a bottle. I would say that. Again, another one, much like Carbone, I would actually put them in kind of the same fragrance wheel, to be honest with you. While not the same kind of scent energy that these put off, it's good stuff, man. I wouldn't say that it's boozy, but it's really hard. It's a fragrance that's really hard to put one finger on as to what this exactly smells like. There's a little funk in it. You smell some leather. You do smell some slight booziness as well. Do not wear this in the summer. Do not wear this in the spring, fall, and winter only. Jerof Overture, perfumed by Chris Maurice. From Chris Maurice, Overture balances cognac, myrrh, and cinnamon. The olfactory equivalent of a handshake that closes the deal. That's 6 figures. This is a sleeper. You can go down a rabbit hole with Jerof. There's so many fragrance releases. I mean, it feels like they're releasing a fragrance every week. Some of my favorites from the line, over the last few years, obviously Alexandria 2. I like Ceylon a lot. I love a lot of fragrances from there. Gao is pure oud. There's a lot of fragrances from their Oud Stars line that could have been on this list as well. This is a sleeper. I know Jerof has some really catchy, elegant bottles with a great bottle, but man, this is a very sexy fragrance. And actually, I feel that I do smell some elements. Man, I do smell some elements of Amouage's Guidance and Guidance 46 in here. So this is definitely unisex. I feel a female could pull this off as well. I could see my wife wearing this with no issues at all. But again, you can actually find this pretty affordable on the gray market. I've had this for quite a long time. I have just recently got back to revisiting this, and man, I'm in love with this stuff. This is really good juice right here. Un Nuit Nomade, Estrella de Mañana. By Jerome Di Marino, Estrella de Mañana ends the portfolio on a note of amber floral optimism. The soft glow after a very profitable day of auctions trading. So I am a big, I do have some designer fragrances, which will always be close to my heart. Oddly enough, K by Dolce & Gabbana is probably one of my favorite designers of all time. I know that sounds super odd, but it is. I have a lot of good sub-memories with that. But I received a sample of Estrella de Mañana in a recent order I got from Lucky Scent. Lucky Scent is one of the best places on the internet to get your niche fragrances. I'm talking like Exadolo, there's if you're looking for Corrigan from Liban, things like that. You can really find it on Lucky Scent. Most of the time it's not out of stock. I mean, I've had to wait on Rolled Old, I've had to wait on, Fuego Futura by Thomas DeMonico. Again, that could have been on this list as well. Estrella de la Mañana is, I would say it's very comparable. To Silver Oud. I've heard people call this a gourmand. It's not a gourmand. I mean, the dry dawn on this to me is pure smoke. I get elements of Silver Oud in here, and oddly enough, I also get certain elements of Acro's smoke, which is probably the smokiest fragrance I've ever smelled. This is a fair price. I mean, their straight line from Un Nuit Nomade there's some very good fragrances in this line. I need to explore and dive into them a little bit deeper, but this is a very elegant, refined, It's not off-putting in any way, shape, or form. It just has enough sweetness to keep it from the smoke becoming completely overwhelming and unwearable. But great bottles as well, so be sure to check this one out. And another line, which oddly enough, I get mixed up when they first came out. I got Maison Crivelli mixed up a lot with Ex Nihilo. It felt like they were both bursting on the scene around the same time, especially with Oud Maracuja, and then you had Blue Talisman, but I've really opened up to both of these houses. Fleur Narcotique was one of my first purchases from Maison Crivelli. My wife loves that scent. It's one of the best florals that men can wear. Secondly, I purchased Patchouli Magnetic. Now, I'm not a big patchouli guy. Shout out to my guy, Robert Jones. Psychedelic by Jerof is almost unwearable to me. I think it's called Patchouli of the World by Electimus. I had both those bottles, but they're somewhat unwearable. Patchouli Magnetic it's almost like it evokes such scent memories to me that there's nothing that I have that smells like this in the patchouli realm. It's not overwhelming. It's a very sweet patchouli. Now, this has also led my foray. I recently purchased Oud Cadenza. I finally broke down about Oud Maracuja, even though I've sold Ombre Nomade. I have a lot of fragrances in that same wheelhouse, but I would advise you guys to check this out for fall and winter as well. Very sweet patchouli, it's very linear. It doesn't change very much at all, but I will say that I typically layer this with other fragrances as well, maybe some sweeter that I'm wearing. And I also want to include, I didn't bring it into the office here to show you guys, but one of my favorite fragrances, I would think this should have been way up on the list, is Doza by Narcotica. Again, such a sweet, sweet fragrance with a little subtlety of oud that's just right. And the oud is a little bit, it's got some funk to it, but I will tell you, it's one you definitely need to check out from that house as well. As the owner of Kaleidoscope Financial as well, fragrance and finance share the same discipline: structure and balance. The air you leave behind is your brand's aftermarket value. Each note is a position, each layer a dividend in presence. You need to build your scent portfolio the way you build wealth: intentionally, sustainability, with legacy in mind. Thank you for tuning in. This is Kaleidoscope Scent, the scent index, where confidence meets chemistry and every note compounds character. Subscribe and start balancing your portfolio presence.